All right, guys, tonight we're doing date night in. Who doesn't love a night out at a classic steakhouse? I do. Tonight, the inspiration for our date night in is a trip to one of my favorite steakhouses growing up down in Pasadena. It's called the Arroyo Chop House. So it's a very classic dark wood, thick booths, great heavy pour martini, a really amazing steak, and family style sides. So tonight, we're gonna be doing an amazing prime New York steak that I got at my local market, El Rancho. They have the best meat. So we're gonna be doing a reverse sear on that. So it's winter, it's not exactly grill season when it's super rainy and cold outside. So we're gonna use our oven where we're going to slowly cook the steak inside and then sear it in a cast iron at the end. Super simple, tried and true. And then the next dish we're gonna do is a New Orleans style barbecue shrimp. So it's a kind of a tangy Worcestershire butter sauce. And we're gonna actually put that into a salad. So I grew up loving the salad and I recreated it similar to how they do it at the restaurant. And then we're gonna finish with a really crusty, yummy garlic bread that you can swipe up all of your meat juices and put those shrimp sauce right in that crusty bread. And then feel free to pair it with the French onion soup in the other episode as a starter if you really wanna jazz it up. So stay tuned. Goes better with New York steak than Cabernet Sauvignon. We've got a 2020 Kempe from that saucy Erin Kempe over in Los Olivos tasting room, Barbie Erin Kempe. We've got a Paso Robles 2020 Cabernet. So let's give this baby a taste. It's really good. It's fruit forward, a little bit jammy. It's gonna be great with this New York. So I'm gonna get my steak in the oven. So this is at room temperature, by the way. So take your steak out of the paper, put it on the counter for about up to an hour, 30 minutes is fine. You don't want it to be ice cold out of the fridge. So this is a room temp prime New York. Like I said, got it at El Rancho. Best steak ever. I'm gonna just put some kosher salt, and don't be shy. You wanna put a fair amount of salt all over, front, back, on the sides. Kosher salt, I think, is the best. And then some freshly ground black pepper. I like my steaks pretty peppery, so I go pretty heavy on the pepper. All right, press that down. And I have the butter and the thyme here in the shot, so we're gonna put that in our pan to finish when we put the sear on the steak. Right now, we're gonna actually put it onto a baking sheet that actually has a wire rack over it. And I'm gonna pop it in a 250-degree oven for about 35 minutes. I'm gonna check it. Use my trusty thermometer. If you don't have a digital one of these, you gotta get one. You want it to be about 115 degrees internally for medium rare, and then just about 120 if you want medium. Okay, crusty garlic bread time. So we have, I used 2 tablespoons of butter for the reverse seared that I set aside, so this is the rest of that stick. And then I chopped up about 8 cloves of garlic. This is gonna be really garlicky, so you could lighten up on the garlic if you want. And I'm gonna put in a bowl a little bit of olive oil, garlic, and butter, and then I'm gonna microwave this and melt this butter. And then I'm gonna cut the bread in half and let the butter kind of marinate while we work on our shrimp salad, and then I'll stick this baby in the broiler right at the end. Okay, so I've got my garlic, olive oil, and butter melt mixture here. And I'm gonna spoon that over. So see how nice and thick this is? So we wanna give time for that butter and garlic to kind of soak down in there, and then we're gonna broil it and make it super crispy. Okay, so I'm gonna add some butter and the garlic. I wanna spoon it on so you get, and the microwave actually quickly allows some of that garlic to release its aroma, and then it'll crisp up in the oven. My hot cast iron that has been on for a couple minutes, so it's really hot. I'm gonna put my butter in the pan. I don't want to burn the butter too, so I'm gonna probably take this down just a little bit. And then I'm gonna stick this guy right there. And I'm gonna sear this on both sides. She's a beauty, look at her. So she's been in the oven at 250 about 38 minutes, 115 internal temp. Then I seared it on either side for about 2 minutes. Got a nice little char, and then look at that. We're gonna cut right down the middle. Perfectly pink. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in some good slices, and then you've each got half a steak. My sauce for my New Orleans style barbecue. So this isn't your traditional barbecue style shrimp. This is New Orleans kind of Creole style. So it's a Worcestershire citrus base. We're gonna do half a cup of Worcestershire sauce, half a cup of white wine, and some onions. So with any butter-based sauce, you start with your acid and you cook it down with onion and garlic. Cook it down, reduce it, and then you add the butter at the end and it binds together. So you don't want to add your butter too soon or it'll break. So we're making this beautiful butter-based sauce. We're going to cook our shrimp in it, cut it into thirds, and pour it piping hot over that salad. Drizzle a little ranch, and voila, barbecue shrimp salad with ranch. Stay tuned.
Love that.
Hey guys, I'm on to our New Orleans style barbecue shrimp salad, another Arroyo Chop House classic. So I've got our fresh Finley Farm greens. You can use little gem butter lettuce. I really like a buttery lettuce little gem vibe. You could use a different lettuce if you like, but I've got that, some shaved red onion, and some sliced cherry tomato, heirloom tomatoes, so a tricolor. And then I've got our shrimp here, and this is a homemade ranch. And I've got some onions, Worcestershire, and white wine over here cooking down as the base of our Worcestershire Beer Blanc. Your classic Creole base. That Worcestershire adds the tang, the citrus and the lemon adds this brightness. You've got these tender onions, and then the white wine kind of balances everything out for our acid base. And then we're gonna add some cold butter. So we're gonna do Beer Blanc in different forms on this show throughout, if you keep subscribing, which you should. But you wanna cook down your acid to a point where all the flavors melt, and then you add cold butter. So cold butter is important because if it's room temperature, it's not gonna melt and emulsify, meaning become one mixture. It'll break, which is what you don't want. So you don't wanna add the butter too early or too late. Shrimpies. They're beautiful and buttery, and this is going to be so yummy to dip the garlic bread in the sauce. So you could totally do surf and turf and keep the shrimp whole and do them side by side with the steak. Just this salad is so amazing. So we're going to turn it into a salad, but if you want to modify, you could totally just do shrimp and steak side by side. I like things a little extra zesty and bright, so I'm going to actually squeeze a whole lemon right here into the pot before I cut these up and put them into our salad. It just makes it a little bit more tangy. My shrimp, my lettuce, my tomato, my onion. I'm gonna do a drizzle of this homemade ranchy. You can always add more, you can't take away. So I'm gonna do a little drizzle. And the goal is you want it to be half and half. You want that tangy Creole New Orleans style barbecue flavor with the creamy ranch as an afterthought. You don't want it to be overly ranchy or overly saucy. So I'm just gonna give this a toss. And again, just eyeball this to your preference, but I tend to rear on the side of less is more, especially when you're dealing with really yummy fresh produce like this. Is to broil our garlic bread. So this has been marinating while we've been preparing everything else. The butter's nice and soaked in. I'm gonna put this on broil until it's crispy. Gotta keep an eye on it though. Okay guys, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us for Date Night In. Hope you're gonna pop open a bottle of this Kempe Cab and reverse sear yourself some steak. Have a good night. Don't forget to hit subscribe.